Okay, welcome everyone. I know this has been kind of a tumultuous time in our state the last week or so, and appreciate those folks that could be attending. Paul, I know that you are kind of going back and forth trying to dodge hurricanes. We're happy to have you join us.
Thank you.
And I've got other business to deal with at the end, but let's start with the minutes of the February 9th, 2024 meeting.
Adrian, would you mind reading the ethics?
I'm sorry, I forgot
statement?
to go at the very beginning. Thank you, Peter.
Sure.
Members of the board are hereby advised of their duty under the State Government Ethics Act to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict, and are instructed to refrain from participating in any matter coming before this board to which there is a conflict of appearance or appearance of conflict. Thank you for that reminder.
Sure.
Minutes of the February 9th, 2024 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to read through those? Okay, does anyone have any suggested edits or corrections? No, I get lots of head nods. May I have a motion to approve the minutes then?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Paul. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Serena. All in agreement with approving the minutes as submitted, please raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Peter, do you want to talk about the financials? Peter's frozen.
I'll text him, Adrian, and see if I can get his attention.
Thanks, Deborah.
I don't know. He's so good with technology. He probably will figure out how to fix it quickly.
Well, I think he popped out.
Yeah.
And popped back.
That's our version of the reboot. So
I would move on, but he's got the next two items on the agenda.
yes, he does. Let's see.
You appreciate.
He said he crashed out.
Uh-oh.
That's what that verbatim what he said. So
And Madam Vice Chair, is someone else maybe doing item 4, the P&A providers? Do we have that update available?
Well, actually, Peter was pretty much leading a good chunk of the rest of the agenda.
Okay.
It was a nice suggestion, though.
More so for our live audience who
Right.
might see what we have. So
Well, I tell you what, while he is rebooting, Deborah, should I go ahead with the resolution?
I think that would be great. I
Okay.
think that would be great.
Leah, are you still on here?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Sorry, I also have an internet problem, so I'm not using my camera.
That's okay, as long as we can hear you and you can hear us. Deborah, other than Leah and me, who else is?
You guys are the only two. Dayton is up for a reappointment.
Okay. So unfortunately, Leah and I have both reached the end of our time with the Continuing Legal Education Board, which I don't know about Leah, but I find very sad. And we have a resolution of appreciation for Leah and Kane. Whereas the North Carolina State Bar Board of Continuing Legal Education desires to recognize the services of Leah Ann Kane, and her contribution to the continuing legal education program of the North Carolina State Bar. And whereas as a member of the Board of Continuing Legal Education from 2018 through 2024, Leah gave unselfishly of her time and talent. And whereas as a member of the board, Leah brought insight, intelligence, and compassion to board deliberations on policy issues and appeals, thereby helping the board to make well-reasoned and fair decisions. Whereas Leah was greatly appreciated by the staff of the CLE program for the courtesy and respect that she showed to all staff members, and whereas Leah's practical approach to the issues before the board will be missed by the members of the board, and her dedication to the continuing legal education program will be missed by the members of the bar. Now therefore, be it resolved by the North Carolina State Bar Board of Continuing Legal Education that the members of the board hereby express their appreciation and gratitude to Leah Ann Kane for her outstanding devotion and service on the North Carolina State Bar Board of Continuing Legal Education. This, the 7th day of October, 2024. Leah, that was the formal, but thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you all. It's really been great. I can't believe it's been that this long, but it's been a great experience in working with the outstanding staff we have at the bar. We're pretty lucky. And the board members, it's been a fun time to be on the board with all the changes, and I'm excited to see how you move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Peter, are you up and running?
Yeah, I guess we had a quick little outage here at the bar, but I'm back. I'm glad that it didn't kick everybody else off. I'm sorry about that. Are we just jumped ahead to do that? Or we need to go back and do the financial statements or, okay.
We just skipped over pretty much everything else that was on your agenda.
Okay. The financial statements were in your materials. As we talked about, this was going to be a little bit of an unknown year, but so far it is. The numbers look good. We have a lot of funds that we've received, collected all of those annual attendance fees, and I think we're right on track to come in at budget or a little above. And I would recommend that these finances be approved, and additionally would recommend that we do not propose to make any changes to the fee schedule for 2025.
Motion received. Any discussion? Very quiet group today. Personally, congrats on staying on budget and even a little ahead there. That's great. I agree. I think the numbers should be kept where they are for now and let another year go by to see if any adjustments may need to be made.
That's right. I think that's just too soon to know until we get a year or 2 or 3's worth of data to see how this is really playing out.
Any comments?
In agreement.
Peter, do you need an official second, or is this just a recommendation of the board?
I think we need a official approval of the financial statements. And if we want to make this recommendation now, which I would recommend that we do it because we want to be able to present this at the October meeting of the State Bar Council, to just recommend that we keep the fee schedule the same for 2025.
I'm happy to make one motion and then the second motion, if that works. So
Thank you, Serena.
motion to approve the financials submitted here today.
Is there a second on the motion to approve the financials? Thank you. All approved, say aye or raise your hand. Thank you. And your second motion, Serena?
A motion not to make any changes to the fees at this time and to review them next year.
Is there a second for that? I'll make okay. Paul, it's always awkward for the chair to make the motion or the second. Thank you, Paul. Any discussion on that matter? If not, all in agreement, please raise your hand or say aye. All in agreement, both motions pass.
Great. So the report of the director. This is quite a report to make. And the biggest news of all by far is that our dear Deborah is retiring. I think I threw a couple of you for a loop there, but that is the Deborah is announced and has told the staff and the officers that she's retiring on December 6th after over 40 years of service at the state bar. Deborah started in 1983. In 1997, Deborah became the the assistant director of the CLE program, essentially took over the CLE program. So she's been running that for over 25 years. There will be a time between now and December 6th where we can celebrate Deborah more than today. But I just wanted to announce that being there, there was other news, and I've got some good news coming my way and changes that way. But as it relates to CLE, there's nothing bigger than Deborah. Deborah finally taking the time to spend time with her family, and we're just so happy for her and terrified that she's leaving.
You guys will be just fine, I'm sure.
That
I'm
was a
sure
great
of it.
summary, Peter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had me. I thought that you were going to be talking about your position. I was not prepared for that, but Deborah, you're amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you.
So we are we're working on finalizing up the job description, and we'll be getting that posted. We'll be searching for to hire a new CLE managing director soon, so we can get someone in to train with Deborah before she retires. And I did receive the nomination for to be the next State Bar Secretary and Executive Director, which will be voted on in October, and I'd be hopefully sworn in on Halloween. But I don't, and in the long run, that will probably mean a shift away from me being the CLE director. But we're going to keep some continuity here, and I intend to stay on as long as I need to make sure we have continuity and the new managing director has the support they need. But otherwise, we're going to think about how we're going to structure things here at the bar, and whether someone else will take over the day-to-day supervision of the CLE department instead of me. But that's not going to happen right away. So I don't think we need to worry about that yet. As long as we need to, I need to stay involved through the end of the year and into next year, we'll do that, and then we'll kind of continue to figure out how that's going to work here internally and who will be the director. But it's going to be quite a few months of change here for the CLE board, and we've had quite a few years of change now going on. But sometime in 2025, all of this is going to come out, and we'll be smooth, and we'll be in smooth sailing because of the work Deborah did the last few years to get us where we are now. It's going to be a lot easier. If we didn't have someone who was as great as Deborah, we might struggle to continue. But she's got everything really organized and ready for whoever comes on. But it's definitely a job we're going to be looking for. So start spreading the word. If it's something anyone who might be interested in, we'll get that job posting out there. Hopefully this week will be posted and out there available. So quite a big report from the director this time. I think look for your emails here in the next few weeks. We're gonna definitely need a time to get together and either in person or on Zoom to celebrate Deborah a little further in November. But,
And even though I'm not going to be officially part of the board, then please include me.
oh, absolutely, yes.
So, Deborah, you know what I think. And Peter, I'm excited for you, but my goodness,
It's a lot.
it is.
Well, I will say just a little bit. I worked with different boards and committees over my many years at the state bar, and hands down, the CLE board has been the best. We have been so fortunate by the wonderful people that have been selected to be on the board, and you're always you really think out decisions. You don't make harsh decisions, and you think about how it's going to impact the staff. And from the staff's perspective, I really appreciate that is a thought process that you make. And I'm so sorry. My dogs have been sleeping all morning, but they decide to bark while we're on a call.
Of course.
But anyway, I just really have enjoyed working with the board, and they, you rotate off and new ones come, and you've all just been absolutely wonderful, especially this board. So thank you for the opportunity
Deborah.
to work with the board. I have enjoyed it more than any other thing I've done at the bar.
Deborah promises me that this is merely a coincidence, and that me getting this new job was not the reason she immediately decided to retire. But
Absolutely
know.
not,
I don't
Peter.
know.
Absolutely not. No, I couldn't be more thrilled for Peter. I'm so happy for him. He's been a wonderful, wonderful boss. Yes, he keeps teasing me about it, but it nothing to do with that. With Alice's retiring, anything, it was just the right time. It's been the right time for me. I've got little ones in my family that I want to spend more time with, and I've got older ones in my family that need me, and so it's just the right time.
Yeah.
Well, we will celebrate you next month, or hopefully, and Peter will celebrate your excitement as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda number 4. Let's talk about the P&A.
So we talked at the retreat about whether there should be an on-demand permission for a P&A provider to sponsor and host an on-demand P&A program. Right now, it's still required to have a live component. Can be on Zoom, but it needs to be live P&A. The reason, the initial reason for that was that this was the original chance for these newer lawyers to come together and collaborate and talk and network and really get that experience to have a group that they're working with. We have seen clearly during COVID, we switched to allowing a P&A program, and that was well received, but we've moved the rules do not currently permit that on-demand P&A program anymore. There are pluses and minuses to having the ability to do it on demand. One of them for the newer lawyers is that if the lawyer misses out on the P&A programs that are being provided by the sponsors for the year, and they are running out of time and their deadline is hitting, they don't really have a way to comply with the rule. Because there's not, if they've missed the options, there isn't a fallback last minute, I need to get this done, so they can, be out of compliance until there's another P&A program being offered. They certainly have had a year and a half of chances to take it, so it's not necessarily that they are guilt-free in that situation. But the other side of it, and then we requested some thoughts from the different providers. The other side of it is that if you go to a strictly on-demand program, it might be, why not just go to a state bar program that everyone has to take? That is a standardized program that we require everyone to take is another, could be a consequence of going to on-demand. My thought is, let's let this play out a little longer before we take action, and continue to receive feedback. I would recommend that we take no action on this at this time. Ultimately, with potential rule coming that would give some sort of discretion either to the board or to the staff to allow on-demand P&A under certain circumstances. We could see that last week during the storms. Buncombe County was doing their P&A and had to scramble, and there were a lot of moving parts there to try to still get everybody their credit because it was happening on Friday during the rain. And so having some flexibility certainly would be helpful to be able to shift and adjust to let people finish something up, or in an emergency situation have an on-demand program that could be offered. Certainly leave it up to the board for that discussion. I know Deborah wanted to speak on the situation that happened during the storm on Friday. It was some good came out of it, something heartwarming in terms of everyone stepping up to help.
Yes, thank you, Peter. The 28th Judicial District Bar had their P&A program on Thursday and Friday. And then Friday, of course, the world fell apart. And they coordinated with the Mecklenburg County Bar to continue day 2 of the P&A program. And and they did all that without our intervention. So I was really, I have a heavy heart for Heather. Has spotty internet connections and, all the things and no power, but yet, her dedication to her job is trying to make sure that all the new lawyers have a chance to take day 2. So she and Lisa Armanini with the Mecklenburg Bar coordinated that, and Mecklenburg will be offering day 2 for the P&A attendees. So good thing came out of a bad thing. So
Deborah, I hadn't heard that. I was one of the speakers on Friday.
were you okay?
Yeah, but luckily they canceled in advance so we could leave the area, even though it was
Yes.
not a second event that people did stay. But that's good to know, because we were so
Yes.
worried about how those new lawyers were going to fare once they got back into
Mhm.
internet service and some sort of rhythm. So I'm so happy to hear that. Thanks.
Yes, it worked out and beautifully, because they had an agenda set for day 2, and Mecklenburg's just going to pick that up. So they'll get what was planned for them. So I was really, it made my heart feel good to know that people were trying to help those new lawyers out in spite of the tragedy that was happening. So
Peter, can you clarify something for me?
Sure.
The in-person attendance for the P&A, can that be fulfilled is that also fulfilled with a live webcast? You can appear remotely through a live webcast. Okay.
Yes.
And that's obviously what's probably going to happen for day 2 from the Buncombe County one.
Yeah, I had a text from the counselor from Buncombe County Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, asking, can we switch this to Zoom? Is that okay? And certainly, that's permitted. I mean, it's live, that satisfies that live component. It used to be that we used to have a in-person requirement there, but I think now it just the Zoom live webcast is sufficient.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone have any questions for Peter about where we stand going forward on the P&A stuff at this moment in time? I shouldn't say stuff, P&A programs. Okay. I think right now, maintaining status quo is where we're at, Peter.
That'd be my recommendation for now. Not ruling anything out further, but maintain status quo for now.
I think that makes sense. Do you need a resolution or motion? Okay.
I don't think so.
Any disagreement or commentary? Anyone wants to talk about that? It's a quiet group today. Okay. Agenda item number 5, Peter.
We also, we had a couple of situations this year where law firms and providers had requested the ability to bring in an expert from outside of their firm, but to do a CLE for their firm as it relates to technology training or mental health, substance abuse, the PWB, which is what is now called. We have a rule that allows in-house ethics training on professional responsibility if from an outside vendor or someone who's an expert in that field could go to a firm and present a CLE. That is one of the only ways that your in-house CLE is permitted. This proposed rule would just clarify that we could also use a firm could bring in an outside expert for professional well-being and technology training. So you would still have the prohibition of in-house training, in-house CLE for all of your other stuff, but for the specialty hours, this would match what we allow for ethics for the professional well-being and the technology training. Now, it's important to point out that it has to be someone unaffiliated with the firm. It cannot be just the firm has one of their lawyers do a training. That's still important. We want to share the knowledge that these firms have and encourage them to be speakers at broader CLE events. But if they were to bring in an outside expert in these areas to do an in-house training for their staff for professional well-being and technology, that would match what we already allow for ethics.
And if you look in the materials that you received, I think it's at the bottom of page 9.
That's right.
You can see the additional language that is being proposed.
Peter, I have a question.
Sure.
What was the original reason, if you know, for carving out ethics from the general prohibition?
The original reason was, Deborah, correct me if I'm wrong. It was that there was someone who wanted to be able to go to firms and do presentations from Lawyers Mutual to be able to go in-house and do presentations. Camille was one of the ones who was doing that, and the board thought that there was value in that because you could have some good conversations and better trainings, in the comfort of your firm in those types of areas. And so that was carved out. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't buy
Had to be longer than 6 years
2018, maybe 2016. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
before my arrival to Lawyers
Yeah.
Mutual.
And I will say that a lot of times it's tough for people to get the ethics hours. So this is another way also to make sure that people do get the required professional well-being, technology, all those hours that sometimes are more difficult to get elsewhere. And if a firm wants to bring someone in to take care of everyone at a firm, I just think that's bonus. But that's my opinion. It is not necessarily the opinion of the board. Anyone have any comments or thoughts on this?
I think it's consistent with that policy to add professional well-being and technology. And I also think that doing that in an in-house manner could also be a higher value add to the particular lawyers that are within that particular organization. So I agree with that.
Do we have a motion to approve the rule?
I'll move to approve it.
Thank you, Paul. Do we have a second? Thank you, Tiffany. Any more discussion about this proposed rule or rule change?
This rule would go to the executive committee of the State Bar Council and then would be published for comment. And then we would, if there was comment, the board would take a look at the comments and determine if they wanted to propose any changes. Otherwise, it would go back to the council for adoption in January.
Any further discussion? All in favor of submitting the proposed rule change, please raise your hand or say aye. Leah? Thank you. All, no, excuse me, everyone has indicated their approval, and we will submit that proposed rule change, Peter.
Great, thank you.
Okay, item number 6.
We received a request before the retreat to consider creating an exemption from CLE for members who are on administrative adjudicatory boards, for instance, like the Utilities Commission. And the board had asked us to look at what are the current requirements for those types of commission members. In the materials, you can see that the judicial education requirements do not apply to those types of members. So that the current exemption that exempts out members of the judiciary who are required by their position to take continuing judicial education, this would not apply to those types of members. I did some further research on some of the commissions, for instance, the Utilities Commission, and while those members on that commission are prohibited from engaging in any other work, they cannot practice while on that commission. There are no educational requirements in statute or rules specifically for commission members. They also are not required to be lawyers. And so, a lot of these positions, members on those boards are choosing to maintain their license and otherwise have no requirements to take judicial education through statute or through the judiciary. And my recommendation is that we do not make any changes, because in that sense, it's I don't know where we would draw the line on who would satisfy for this type of exemption. I mean, you can imagine anybody who works for an administrative agency in some way would think that they might be eligible for this. And if the lawyers on these boards are choosing to maintain their law license, my recommendation is that they still be required to take CLE.
Thank you, Peter. Any commentary, questions? Okay. For
This
future
is Rob. This is Robert. I think Peter's exactly right, because from what I read here, judicial exemptions for an adjudicatory board. I mean, I was on the Dispute Resolution Commission for a number of years. I mean, I can't imagine that I could somehow or other not have to take CLE, because that's an adjudicatory board. I think I support Peter's position wholeheartedly.
And this is Tiffany. I hope you can hear me. I do as well. And I think, I think a lot of folks might point to the fact that someone is not practicing at the time, but that doesn't mean that they won't practice again in the future. And being up to date on everything that's going on in the practice of law, if you're going to maintain your license, I think that should be required.
And I know you can't see all the head noddings there, Tiffany, but there were head nods to your commentary.
Yeah, I agree too. This is Leah. And if someone didn't want to, they can also go inactive during those years and then become active again.
Serena, Paul, do either of you two have anything to add?
No, I agree with everyone's comments.
Peter, it would appear that we are all in agreement with your recommendation.
Again, I don't know that we need to have a motion. We didn't, there's no action here. Certainly prerogative of the board. If you wanted to, make a motion that you have considered this and do not want to, create a new exemption, but I don't think, I'm never one to make a motion to that actually doesn't do anything. And so I don't think you necessarily need to make a motion here.
I would say we probably don't. If anyone has a question, it will be part of the minutes that the matter was discussed and
No action was taken.
no action was taken.
Okay.
Okay. I think that is everything. Does anyone have any new business?
I just want to
Yep.
thank Deborah and Peter. Since I came onto the board, it's been, I've been new to the North Carolina Bar boards, and you have made it a very seamless and enjoyable process and shown a lot of leadership. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
We'll miss you.
And as this is my last meeting, I want to say thank you to Deborah, to Peter, to each and every one of y'all. I have greatly enjoyed, Veronica's known me for a lot of years and knows that education is my thing. So this has just been great. Thank you.
I think Serena wants to say a few words about you, Adrian. She's going to read it for the board.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Resolution of appreciation for Adrian S. Blocker. Whereas the North Carolina State Bar of Continuing Legal Education desires to recognize the services of Adrian S. Blocker and her contribution to the continuing legal education program of the North Carolina State Bar. And whereas as a member of the Board of Continuing Legal Education from 2018 to 2024, Adrian gave unselfishly of her time and talent. And whereas as a member, vice chair, and subsequently chair of the board, Adrian contributed her common sense approach to issues, ensuring that the board never adopted a policy, changed a rule, or decided an appeal without considering all aspects of the matter. And this approach to policy issues and to appeals helped the board to make well-reasoned and fair decisions. Whereas under Adrian's leadership as chair, the board recommended and the North Carolina Supreme Court approved sweeping changes to the CLE rules. Whereas Adrian was greatly appreciated by the staff of the CLE program for the courtesy and respect that she showed to all staff members. And whereas Adrian's thoughtful and calm approach to the issues and her unerring professionalism and collegiality will be missed by the members of the board, and her dedication to the continuing legal education program will be missed by the members of the bar. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the North Carolina State Bar Board of Continuing Legal Education that the members of the board hereby express their appreciation and gratitude to Adrian S. Blocker for her outstanding devotion and service on the North Carolina State Bar Board of Continuing Legal Education, the 7th day of October, 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Serena, and all of y'all.
Thank you, Adrian. It's been a pleasure. And you're not getting away too easy. We're going to get you back here next month for something fun.
I look forward to it.
Oh, look out. Peter's known for his fun stuff. So,
I'm good with that.
oh gosh.
Oh, is there any other new business to come before the board? If not, we are adjourned with my thanks and gratitude to all of you. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Paul, good luck. Please stay safe. Let us know what we can do to help.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.